photographer, and today I'm live from Islamorada, or Islamorada. It's Islamorada, but Islamorada, however you want to say it. Tonight, I'm down here for just the one night. We've drove down, we're going to stay the night here, and then head back in the morning. We've got a pretty good drive ahead of us, but tonight's camera of choice is the Nikon Z6. I chose this camera mainly because, oh, and I hope I got the chat enabled. Is the chat on, you guys? Someone dropped me a text. Let me make sure the chat's live. I think it is. I don't think I disabled it, so it should be operational. It's kind of an odd day for my live stream anyway, because I normally do them on Mondays, and today, well, this week, I kind of messed things up. So I missed Monday because of the traveling. So I decided to just fire it up tonight for a little while, talk to you guys a little bit. I didn't have a video this Wednesday anyway, so it was just kind of a mixed up week. I don't know that I'll have, a lot of people join during the chat, but if I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. Either way, y'all can watch it later at your leisure. Ah, there's Hassan. Thank you. Now I know the chat works. Good. Thank you. But tonight I did. I've got a little project going with my road sign stuff. Last weekend or weekend before last, might have been last weekend. I went with Aaron up to Carson City, just outside Cherokee, and we done a bunch of photos of some old road signs. And let's see, I might be able to get the camera to show this one. See if it shows up. It's overexposed. It's real bright. It's kind of hard to get the camera to show it, but I don't know how to dim the screen enough to where it won't overexpose. But trust me, on here it looks much better than it does on there. So, but there's this hotel I'm staying in is the if I've got this right, La Jolla Resort, L-A and then space and then J-O-L-L-A. J spelled like it, pronounced like an H, and a double L is pronounced like a kind of an H sound. It's kind of backwards, but so I'm thinking it's La Jolla Resort, and they have a really pretty neon sign out front. And I went out front and got a photo of it after it got dark. It was a little bit rainy, so that's another reason I took this, because I'm pretty sure, yeah, this is this is weather sealed. So I didn't want to take the D810 because all the lenses I have for it that I could use for this are not weather sealed. This is kind of boomy. What if I was to move the camera? I'm trying not to get into the wind too much. Is the wind noise real bad right there? Because if I can get away from this wall, it won't be near as echoey. And I've got decent light right here, so let's see. I need you guys to give me some feedback. There we go. Got a comment just dropped in. But yeah, I'm trying to, there's the camera, okay. Trying to make sure that the stream doesn't have a lot of wind noise. So let me know if it does. But we got down here 2 days ago, yesterday. Yeah, got down here yesterday, and I linked up a Cuban run. We went and took a bunch of photos at the wildlife preserves, the nature preserves and all that. And then I used my D810 and that new 500mm phase Fresnel lens. I got a little story about that. I'll probably do a video on it at some point too, but I'll talk about it here during the stream as well. I got the camera out, and I've been using it, and I was running automatic focus with the manual override. That's the switch selection I was running. So we get out in this old wildlife preserve, for lack of a better term, and we're shooting photos. Well, the focus is real sluggish. It's just real sluggish, and it just takes forever to get focused, and I just can't get it to focus. And the shutter speeds are real weird, and it's like underexposing, and it's just like all these problems. So I finally, now like I said, you guys are gonna have to let me know if there's a lot of wind noise, because it's kind of windy. There's a rain front blowing in, and if I need to move the camera, I can probably back it up about a foot maybe cut the corner off, because I'm right in the corner of a building here. So I'm trying to like shield the mic from the wind. But I was talking to Delphin about the focus on my camera. I was like, you know, it works, but it just seems slow. And I said, it doesn't seem like it's always been this way. So I started messing with the exposure, trying to get the exposure right. So I wound up, I had auto ISO set, and I had it set to minimum ISO of ISO 64. Because, you know, you always run your ISO all the way down, then you go to auto ISO. Well, apparently on a D810, it's the other way around. You set the maximum ISO that it can go to. So I moved it to auto ISO 6400. It's like a different camera. It woke it up. The camera, when you hit the focus button, it's almost instantaneous focus right then. There's none of this hunting back and forth and all of that jazz. It's just zip, and it's in focus right then. It just, I don't know how long it's been that way. There really isn't much telling, to tell you the truth. It's been a long time. But I had the dadgum camera set up wrong, and I've had it set up wrong for probably 2 years. I felt like such an idiot. So suddenly the camera works great, and it's taking all these razor sharp photos. So we found an American kestrel. Phil Thatch let me know that it was a sparrowhawk, and I didn't know it went by the other name. I thought that was two different birds, but we found one perched on a tree branch, almost like a weed, and it was landed on it in the top of this little bush, and it was just holding on to that branch like sideways, sitting there, straight around the area. It was really pretty. I had never seen one before, so we got a bunch of photos of that. And then we got photos of alligators. There was a bunch of alligators, and I don't know what all the birds. We got kingfishers, I know for sure, and like a white stork. Well, there was actually a stork on a tree limb. Of course, the ibis, and the one that there's a, wherever that little white bird is, it's got the straight beak, and then there's a little white bird with a long curved beak. They look very similar. There's some of them. Then there's what I nicknamed swamp chickens, which was it was like a common moorhen, something like that. There was a bunch of them. So, but needless to say, we found iguanas. I got photos of them. The iguanas are pretty cool. Cuban Rum didn't think it was a big deal at all. He sees them all the time. But for me, I never ever see an iguana, so it was a big deal to me. And so we got photos of that. Hey Martin, how you doing? Thank you for stopping by. I'm in Keys Islamorada. It's right down below Key Largo. We're not a long way into the Keys. Woody, how you doing? Yeah, I figured I'd log in for a little while. I got a little bit of free time. Don't you love all this ISO noise over here from the camera trying to struggle with that dark corner? I wanted this building to be kind of in frame. Pretty sure swamp chickens isn't a real bird. Yeah, but it sounds cooler than common moorhen, I think is what it's called. Sure seemed real enough to me. I took a bunch of pictures of them. It's a little black bird with a little red patch on its head with like a yellow beak. Them things were everywhere, and they were just walking on the top of the vegetation in the swamp, picking around at stuff. It was almost like they were acting like chickens. Charles Andrus, how you doing? Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, it's funny. Dang, Martin, do you sleep? It's like 1 a.m. in your world, isn't it? Woody says, what are you doing in the Keys? New species. We just came down here for one day, just to kind of come down and hang out and relax a little bit. When you come down to like Key Largo, or I think it's Islamorada, Islamorada. That's what it's called. I stay up late. Yeah, you do. But This is Islamorada, that's what it's called. And these are like the relaxation slash fishing villages. Pretty much everybody that's here except us is fishermen or people just trying to relax a little bit. Yeah, you come down here for like a lot slower pace of life. You don't come down here for the hustle and bustle of the, like Miami. It's not like that here. Um, it's one road, of course, Highway 1, and everything's on that road, or it's houses just off of it. Like literally, probably 80 yards that way is the Gulf of Mexico, and maybe 300, 400 yards that way is the Atlantic Ocean. It's just a little sand spit. That's all these keys are. They're just little tiny islands. If you look at them on Google Earth, it's almost comical. Adrian, hey, how you doing? I'm Adrian. You're gonna be proud of me. I'm trying to learn Spanish, and I'm trying to use your posts on Instagram as instructional material. I'm starting to be able to decode what you're posting, so don't translate them. I want them in Mexican so that I can actually work on my Spanish lessons to understand them better. It's a big help, and I've just got started, so please don't ask me to converse in it. You know, I just know like keywords. I don't really have conversational skills at this point. We've learned, you know, derecha for right, and you know, is care today, or is care today is left, and you know, how to like order food and things like that. But I really haven't. Me, Allegro Portuguese. Thank you. But I'm working on it, so we're actually taking legit lessons this time instead of trying to use something like a piece of software. We are supplementing it with like, there's several good tutors on YouTube that our teacher has pointed us to, but we haven't really, come on, what? This should be working. Nah, there we go. Juice up the power pack, it should be working. It told me when it was going into low power mode. It shouldn't be doing that because I have a power pack plugged in. Let's see. That should do it. Yeah, now it's charging, okay. But yes, but definitely, I really appreciate the fact that you don't put translations in your posts. It's a big help. Nice. Well, our instructor is Brazilian. She's native Brazilian, but she's moved to the U.S. and she teaches Portuguese, Spanish, French. She knows 2 more languages, of course, English and another one. But que bueno, hace como 18 años. You've been speaking Spanish for 18 years? Is that what I get? Did I decode that right? Wow. I will overnight you my power pack. See, nice. But yes, it's actually really nice here. I mean, it's January 13th. I'm outside in a t-shirt, so I can't complain. Donde aprendices. Nice. Honduras. Ooh. Honduras, I haven't seen much about Honduras yet. One of the valet parking guys at the hotel in Miami was from Nicaragua. He was interesting, real interesting guy. But yes, this was tonight's camera tour. Are you filming this live stream on the Z6? No, sir, because I'm holding my only Z6 in my possession. I am filming it on my iPhone 10, iPhone X, front-facing camera. The reason that it's so bright here and so dark here is I'm directly under a light. If I move back, which I would really like to be able to do, then I get into the wind coming off of the Gulf, and I'm afraid it's going to make the microphone real windy and, you know, a lot of wind noise. I'm trying to back it into a little corner. There's an alcove right behind it, and I'm trying to find the dead space for the air. He wanted to find small chickens. Yeah, that's why I came down here to do photography with Cuban rum. And then today, I did get my camera out today, and because I was hoping I'd see some birds around here or some wildlife. I got a picture of a squirrel, a really cool photo because the squirrel walked right by me. So I filled the frame with a squirrel, 36 megapixel frame, and no cropping required. That little guy with 500 millimeter, he was literally filling the whole frame. Then I got some good iguana photos and a few pelicans. There's a lot of pelicans here. And I'm figuring it's because they showed up about an hour before dark, and I'm thinking that's because the fishermen come in about that time probably, and they clean their fish on the dock, and I figured them pelicans are there to get the scraps. There's Cuban rum. How you doing? Thank you for stopping in. Since I failed to drop a video today, I thought maybe I'd crank up the stream since I didn't do it Monday either. And Woody asked me on an email if I was going to run the stream Monday, and I dropped the ball and failed to write him back. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Morgan says, I'm upgrading from the Nikon D600. How do you like the Z6? It's an incredibly good camera. I really, really like it. As long as you're not shooting very fast action focus tracking stuff with it. It does great for anything static. Like I said, I took photos of the sign tonight with it. It does great in low light. It does video real well. It does those really, really well. It doesn't have the tracking speed of like a D500 or a D810 even. My D810 tracks moving subjects faster than this Z6. It just doesn't have that. But for general photography, it's an amazing camera. And it works really good for video. I just haven't really pushed myself to learn to use video functionality with it yet. Peter Gregg would love to highlight this video Friday. I hope he does. Peter Gregg is like the most awesomest live streamer in the history of live streaming. If you haven't seen the Christmas room yet, and thank you, Woody, for reminding me, the Christmas room has typically, I think, 5 or 6 live stream cameras running at once, and he switches between them to give you perspectives as well as different like lenses he might be testing or different cameras he's set up. It's really cool. Hey Scott, how you doing? Thank you for stopping in. Nikon was the #2 seller in Japan in December with the Z7. Wow, the Z7 II sold that well. Woo! I gotta admit, from all indicators, that Z7 II is going to be a monster. Like, it would be something I would pick over a D850 because it has an EVF, and that EVF life. I love the electronic viewfinder. Yes, I'm glad to hear some positive news from Nikon as well. Thank you, Cuban Rum. That's a good point. I have no idea what's happening right here. This is out of my control. But honestly, the D810 worked really well for me. I'm having trouble. I don't know if you guys have this trouble or not, but this rubberized coating they put on them, it's peeling off of my D810. It's like the rubber swells and then won't stay inside the footprint that it glues into, and it just pops off the corners. And I've done took it off the battery door completely. I pulled it off the battery door probably 3 or 4 years ago. I tried to glue it back on, couldn't get it to stay. It's like the oil from the skin oils makes it swell and then it won't stay on. And it's coming off right on the back. On the D810, there's a little panel right here, and it's coming off of there now. I don't know, can you get that piece and redo it? Oh, come on, Cuban Rum, drop the link in. I can't do it from here because I'm iPhone streaming, so for me to do it, Nikon rubber always peels off, is what Martin said. Yeah, the aesthetic looks good to begin with, and it feels great, but it's actually just coming apart. I've heard of people having trouble out of their Z cameras already with that. This one's held up. So far, it's okay. I don't see any issues on it. Yeah. Yeah, this one's okay. I had to look. But yeah, that's the only problem I'm really having out of the camera. And I found my missing batteries. My batteries, not had that problem. Huh, interesting. I think it has to do with your skin oil, because I carry mine by the grip a lot, and that battery door on the D810 is right there under your palm, and my hands sweat pretty profusely. I think the sweat is acidic enough that it attacks the rubber. I think that's what's happening. Really? They dropped the 5600 and the D3500. That's DSLRs. That surprised me. With the Z50 performing as well as it does, and it as cheap as it is, that surprises me that they ain't pushing it to replace those cameras. I'll just be honest with you. The Z50, for the price, is hard to beat. You'll struggle to compete with that camera, because I have seen it. It performs exceedingly well. A Z30, interesting. You can have it replaced easy, okay. D5600 prices on eBay are going to get a little high. Interesting. Claire, what? Uh-oh, one shot by me here. Let's see. Claire Hennessy from Melbourne, Australia. Wow, how you doing? I'm live at Keys Islamorada. It means purple in Spanish. Islamorada. I wish I had something with it wrote on it. It's on the map. If you just Google it. But the XQD cards are expensive. Do you think they're better than regular SD cards? Right speeds. That's it. That's all you gain with XQD or CF Express over SD is write speed. They write so much faster to memory. They're supposed to be more robust, but honestly, my SD cards have lasted. I bought my D810 in, I think, 2014. I think it was the year it came out. Might have been 6 months after it dropped, and I still have the same SD cards. I've got more, but I still have those, and they still work fine. So, yeah, y'all got to let me know if the wind noise is getting bad. You got to say something, because I can push this camera back a little bit and get it into the corner a little better. The wind's coming right around here, and it's hitting my arm pretty strong, but it's not really hitting my face, so I'm thinking maybe I'm okay. But I bought my first CF Express card. Is it the one that's in the camera? Yeah. I bought my first CF Express card from, if I can get it to focus. Look at that, won't focus. But it's a Delkin Devices CF Express Prime 64 gig. And there, if I do that, maybe will it? Yeah. But it functions in the camera perfectly. But Bass Angler, I don't know, is Bass Angler here? Did he check in? Oh, how much better built? There, much better built. Okay, I'm seeing now. Stuff's going by. No wind noise problem. Very good, thank you. But I bought this one in, listen to me, I can't remember. It's Arizona, Sedona, Arizona. I bought it from a camera shop there. And this one works perfectly in the Z6 with this firmware update. But it won't, my Sony XQD card reader doesn't recognize it. So I can only download the photos from this card through the USB-C port on the camera. Keep that in mind, that you will have to get a CF Express card reader if you have the Sony XQD reader. That's just a little issue with it. Otherwise, the card works great, and the write speed is phenomenal. It's shocking how quick it clears the buffer. It's almost instantaneous, but that's the only real thing you gain from it. But to me, I write, like in my D810, I write raw files to the CF card and JPEGs to the SD, and it clears the buffer really quick doing it that way. And that way I have the raw backup on CF card, and of course the straight out of camera JPEGs if I want them on the SD card. But for the most part, since I can't get into the camera without a computer, and I didn't bring a computer with me, I can't share any of those photos with you at this point. They're just trapped in those memory cards, which is kind of liberating, I'll be honest with you, because I don't want to sit down in the evenings and pluck cherry pick photos to try and put on the internet. I went out and took a picture tonight instead. You know, it was really cool. Morgan Nelson. Thank you, Morgan. I appreciate the subscription. Try again. Hassan, I have the 85 f1.8, I have the 24-70, and that's the only two Z mount lenses I currently own. I'm thinking. I don't think I bought another one at this point. I have the F to Z, so all of my F mount stuff, you know, the new 500 PF I bought works on it. I used it one day. I made a video with it. It's coming. I got all of my F mount glass. My 70 to 200 fits and works fine. That 200 to 500 super zoom. And then I don't know. I got a bunch of screw drive stuff that won't autofocus on it, but I use the 24-70 if I get into those focal lengths. But yeah, I actually ran the 105 f2 DC Nikkor on this camera right after I bought it, and manual focused that whole night shooting a event for my church. We had they call it a singing, and it's where a group of people get together and they sing these songs out of this book called The Sacred Heart. And it's a big event. There was a bunch of people there. And I photo documented that evening with that 105 f2.5 so I could get kind of close-ups but be back out of the crowd so I could stay around the fringes that way and not really be intrusive. And with focus peaking and the focus magnification, I assigned focus magnification to this function button. Pretty much none of them were out of focus. It was just easy. Plus with the F2, I had lots of light and beautiful creamy backgrounds. It just made beautiful photos. But yeah, I've got quite a few F-mount autofocus, electric autofocus lenses that I'll F to Z adapt, and then I've got the two currently S lenses. I've been looking at a couple of the other ones, but I think I'm going to sit on my hands until they flesh out the lineup a little more. That 50 was at 1.2 they just came out with. That's a pretty nice looking lens. It'd be a cool street photo lens, just to tell you the truth, and portraiture actually. The focus peaking on the Z6 is great. It's as good or better than the XT3, and you can set like how strong the focus peaking comes on, or like how dense it is on the edges. Like you can set it to light, medium, or heavy or something. It's got some kind of gradations that you can choose, and it works really well for that. What I find that really helps though is when I hit that, I don't remember how many times magnification, but when you zoom in, the peaking still works when it's zoomed, and then you can just like dial it with manual glass. You can see the image get sharp, and then the peaking will start speckling. You'll see it kind of start tingling looking, or whatever that's called, twinkling maybe, on certain surfaces. You'll see it just start doing it, and you'll know you're dead on focus, and just fire the shutter, you know. Especially if you've got your frame composed and you've moved your focus point to wherever you're going to zoom, so that you don't have to move the camera. You zoom, touch it up, fire the shutter. If you have to focus and recompose, I mean, typically I don't move far enough out of the depth of frame to worry about losing my focus once I've crispied it up. Let's see. For the price, I will stay with the 51.8S, is what Cuban Rum said. Yeah, that's, and I've heard that too. Oh, look, I got somebody new here. Let's see who we got. Elijah Akins. Hey, man, Georgia native living in Oregon. Oh, that's harsh right now. It's wintertime. Pursuing photography, love your stuff. Thank you. Appreciate you checking in. Thanks for the comment. I really appreciate that. You get the beautiful photos, dude. The landscape in Oregon is gorgeous. I've seen it. I've been to Bend and whatever that town just north of Bend is. We stayed there a bunch. We actually just drove down to Bend. I can't remember the name of the town. It's where Smith Rock is. So we were there for back in a year ago. We were there literally a year ago, right before COVID shut down flying and all. We was there. It was a real beautiful countryside. So yeah, there's some real beautiful photography opportunities there. Redmond, that's it. I could not remember the name of that town. Saved my life. On the main street, there is a hostel there that is real environmentally conscious. I can't remember the name of the hostel. I could look on a map and tell you the name of it, but it's right on the little main street that goes through the old center of town. And I was there the day that like Susie's Cupcake Shop had the grand opening. I actually got photos, street photos of them doing the ribbon cutting of that cupcake shop opening up. But yeah, it's a real cool little place. Thank you for checking in, really, seriously. It's kind of neat. I mean, matter of fact, while we was in Bend, we went just south of Bend because we were looking for snow, and there was a state park next to a cinder cone. Looks like a little tiny volcano. And I got a couple of landscape photos from the edge of that cinder cone and lava field that's around it. It's a real pretty area, especially with snow. It was gorgeous. Nice. You get to Chattanooga, shoot me an email, and you'll be in a video. We'll go do photography. We'll do something. Dude, I'm all about hooking up with another photographer and taking pictures. Redmond, yes, that's it. Hassan says he's considering the Sigma 65mm f2 or the Panny 85 f1.8. That's the Panasonic, I'm assuming. See, for my tastes, the 65 would be the magic. That's the way I would want to roll. I would just be after that 65mm life. Ooh, there's more going on here. Sure. Sounds like a plan. I shoot Sony mirrorless and vintage lenses. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, shoot me an email. Morgan Nelson asked, do you photograph a lot of events? Not really. Do you ever worry about not having 2 car slots? Oh, with the Z6? No, I haven't photographed any events with it. If I do a event of some sort, well, I mean, I did that church thing with it, and XQD has a real good reputation, and I just took the chance with it. But if I'm shooting like senior portraits or something, I get the D810 and I double down. I write a file to each card. That way, I do have some redundancy. Eric Smith. Thanks for going live. TV is pooping. Enjoying your Floridian weather. I say, yes, Florida. It's a little cool because the wind is blowing in off the Gulf, but it's not cold. It's there's a rain front moving through, so it's lowered it some. It's been really nice all day today. When we got down here, it was really nice, warm. The iguanas were walking around. There was an iguana. Yeah, he's gone now. Right across the parking lot. In a building that looks like this one that's right there. There's an old AC casing stuck out of the wall, and there was an iguana curled up in it sleeping. I think Bass Angler has figured out what swamp chickens are. All right, Bass Angler. Down here, there's a little black bird that walks around on the foliage on top of the water in the Everglades. He has a yellow beak and a little red tuft right on his head. rest of the bird is jet black. And I think it's called a common moorhen. I think Cuban Rum looked it up, and that's what the name of the bird was. But we quickly nicknamed them swamp chickens because they acted like chickens. They'd run in little packs like hens would, and they'd run over here and pick at a bug. It was just, I was like, that's a swamp chicken. Yeah, Cuban Rum confirmed it. They are called common moorhens. Cute little bird. Looks just like a chicken walking on the swamp. We saw all kinds of wildlife. Guys, y'all want to see the critters, you got to come to South Florida. They're everywhere. Saw more alligators this trip than I've ever seen in the wild. Ever. Ooh, excuse me. Yeah, I rolled the D810 all day, well, all daylight day yesterday with Cuban Rum while we was in the Everglades or whatever these, I'm gonna call them bird sanctuaries. I'm pretty sure that's what they are. They're like designated wetlands, so they're under a foot or two of water the whole time, and that it creates these perfect habitats. We rolled that, and then that evening I switched over and we got our Leicas out. We was a couple of Leica snobs, a little bit better than everybody else with our fancy dancy cameras. We took our Leicas and shot some street photography in downtown Miami. We found the Ferrari dealership. Hey Phil, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate you, dude. I have yet to be able to watch your video because I have not had time. I seen it came out though. Oh, y'all are blowing it up. Panama. What can I say? It's boring, LOL. Oh, you're killing me. Watching The Book Thief. It's boring. Peeking in during the potty break. Oh, you're funny. Not to get into politics, but feeling a little like 1984. Feels a lot like 1984. It's almost like that's the playbook. I mean, that one and Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. There's so many parallels. It's kind of weird. But then again, honestly, any of those kind of novels, you can pick and choose things out of society and it'll fit. It just, the media is focused on the negative, so they only feed you the negative. And since that's all you see them talking about, it becomes that's all there is. Not the way it is. Life's a lot better than that. I mean, you guys know, you guys that interact with me in this stream know that there's more to life than politics. There really is. I mean, you got to concern yourself a little with it, but you know, go do something that makes you feel good. You know, it's the way it works. How y'all doing down there? I'm streaming from the upper deck. There's like people down there. Yes. By the way, Cuban Rum knows where the best Cuban restaurant in Miami is. And if you link up with him, tell him you want to go there. It is amazing. And I am a kind of a finicky eater. The food was incredible. What was the name of that place, Cuban Rum? The second one, not Flanagan's or Finnegan's or whatever, but the other one that kind of sounded Italian, but it wasn't. What was that one called? You know what I'm talking about. Man, that place was off the scale good. Versailles, yeah, man, that place was awesome. It's also awesome when the person that you've linked up with in his hometown orders your entire meal in a foreign language. that was cool. I just gotta admit. Oh, you are done on to something else. What's going on here? "1984 was a good Van Halen album. My video is born. Book Thief is great." You guys. Oh, man, y'all old. I remember when 1984 came out. That was a long time ago. Man, doesn't seem like it's going to be what, 30, 40 years ago in just a couple of years? 40 years ago? Really? Wow. That's just hard to understand. Yeah. Well, I was in high school. I don't remember what grade. I have to think about it. And then Eric Smith was drawing Van Halen on his schoolwork. Hey, Gary, how you doing? Yeah, I've kind of dropped the ball on the whole live streaming thing. That's kind of on me. I have to own that. I was going to crank the stream up Monday, but things were just too busy, and I just didn't get to it. There was just too much happening, and I wasn't able to get it done Monday. So, since I didn't upload a video on Wednesday this week, I thought, hey, I'll crank the stream up once we get done with supper. We went to a place right down the road here called Chef Michael's in Islamorada. Wow, that's pathetic. And it's really, really good. It's a little pricey, but really good. Life gets in the way, yeah. Dan Smith from Southern California. How you doing, Dan? It's nice weather there, I'll bet. Sit here trying to get over this big blizzard. Blizzard? What blizzard? Hard break done. I'll stop back in if you're still alive in the movie there. Thank you, Phil. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. I've been quiet, hiding in the walls, but I tuned in since you went to Israel. Oh. Grant Govro, hola. Thank you for stopping in. And yes. What is your go-to lens, Hassan asks. Depends on the camera. It really does. On the Z6, it's the 24-70 f4S, the one that came with it. This lens is a dream lens. It's what I've shot so much stuff with this 24-70 kit lens. It works so well. And then on the Leica CL, I normally run the 50mm Summicron R, which is a vintage R mount lens. I've got a couple of others in there if I want to go wider. I've got a 20mm AFD Nikkor lens that I'll use. That gives me like a 30mm field of view. It's kind of wide. It works pretty good for like snapshots and indoors and things. And then I keep a 135 or a 200 in the bag as well for some telephoto sorts of things. If I'm shooting the D810, typically it ends up with either the 60mm micro Nikkor or some kind of big lens. I wished I could. We're pulling out in the morning, heading north. We're just down here for the one day. We just wanted to come down a little further south to get a little warmer. Yeah, but yeah, tomorrow morning we're heading back north, so we won't be able to actually go. We kicked around the idea of driving all the way to Key West, but we didn't want to just spend the whole day driving down there, walking around and driving back or something. So we already had accommodations here. So we just decided to stay here and enjoy the afternoon. And I'm kind of glad we did because it was really relaxing and we kind of needed it. I'm shooting exclusively Nikon AI and AIS primes on my Z6. Nice. I keep the 50mm f1.4 AI on a F to Z mount simple ring adapter. It's not electronic F to Z style. I keep one of them in the bag, and it's kind of fun for like like nighttime street photography-ish in the city sort of thing. It works really well for stuff like that. Now, adapting other lenses to the Z6, I haven't really done it much. Now, like I said, I've got several adapters, and I've played with a few of them, but like I did up the one where I put the, what was it, the old, I think it's an old Pentax 100mm macro lens on it. Play with that a little bit, or 105, I don't remember now for sure. But I don't use this for macro photography much. I just don't. I tend to normally go to the XT3 or the CL because the pixel density on those 24 to 26 megapixel crop sensors cameras is so much greater that it's almost like zooming in just by doing that. You know, it just seems like, you know, when you compress the pixels, you know, from 24 and something this big to 24 and something that's only like, I think 38% of the area, you get a lot more resolution. It's a way of kind of cheating. Let's see. Greg Skaz, how you doing? Thank you for stopping by. Saw your email. Looks great. Probably talk to you tomorrow on the phone. Let's see here. It is challenging, but it's fun. I just use the F to Z. Yeah, and the F to Z works, but what happens when I run the F to Z is when you put it on the camera and you mount it on like a tripod or something, you can't like change lenses with the body mounted on the tripod. The F to Z hits the tripod mount. And I found with those simple circular adapters, if I'm running them vintage lenses, then you can change lenses on the camera and it doesn't interfere with the tripod mount. You don't have to take it off the tripod to switch lenses or to switch adapters or whatever. That's the only reason I like that simple adapter ring. You know, it really doesn't gain you anything other than that. And it, you know, and the F to Z does have a tripod plate on it. You can mount your tripod to the actual adapter, technically, which probably wouldn't be a bad idea, truth be known. Make sure I didn't miss something. Y'all got them going on. Hassan says, I think, oh wait, Grant's got one. Now, I'm gonna give you another little hint, Gary. These two function buttons, I remapped the top one to focus magnification or zoom so that this index finger sits on that button. So while you're looking through the viewfinder, you can literally just hit that button, it zooms in, you crisp up the focus, hit the shutter, and it zooms out, or hit the button and it zooms out, one of the two, I don't remember for sure. And then you can compose and fire the shot. Fast, very fast, surprisingly fast. Not as fast as autofocus, but almost. Plus, I mean, you can pinpoint focus. It's incredible how well it works for me. Let's see. Grant says, what's your next lens acquisition? That's a good question, because I just got that 500mm phase Fresnel, so that's a tough one. Probably something really, really wide. I really want something like a 14mm, so I'm thinking maybe that 14 to 24 Z mount, or even maybe a 14 to 24 F mount, and I'll F to Z adapt it. Because Phil seems to get super great performance out of his adapted F mount stuff, so I may do that one. I would like a wider lens at times. There's times when 14 or 20mm ain't enough, and that's my widest full frame lens is a 20. So, and I've gotten to where I shoot wider stuff more often. And I don't know, it just seems like I've gotten to where I like a wider field of view for some reason. Adrian asked, do I own a laptop for editing? Yes, I actually have one, but I didn't bring it with me. I have an Apple MacBook Pro. That's what I do, Gary said. Okay. Ali Avsi. The Nikon Z to Canon autofocus adapter is great. TechArt Pro. I saw that. I wondered how well it worked. It looked like it actually is electrically driving the focus on the Canon lens instead of like doing one of those driver deals. The lens works like a native lens. That's pretty cool. Ah, yeah. And the flash is attached or using a trigger. Okay. Ollie says the Sigma 12 to 24 is amazing. 12 is wide, dude. That's super wide for full frame. The 14 to 30 f4 is great and small. And for what I'll be shooting, I don't need a big aperture. So yeah, that would be fine. F4 lenses are great lenses. I don't have a problem with them at all. Yeah, of course, bass angler, always the opportunities, has noticed that it means you don't need the 500 PF and tele anymore if you're shooting wide, LOL. I didn't put the teleconverter on it this weekend. Cuban Rum said that if we go to these places, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. He was right. Wait till you see the photos. We didn't need the teleconverter to get closer. They were literally 20 yards from the walkway. They were just super close. Some of them were so close. I filled the frame, or like the whole frame was just part of the bird. You could get crazy close. You're my man. You're gonna help me out there, are you? Let's see. Woody pulled a message out. Let's see. Not sponsored, said Ollie. Thanks. I appreciate it, really. You have even 10 millimeter on Nikon Z6. 10? Wow. Cuban Rum said, actually, the problem was we were too close. There was times, yeah, I couldn't actually get it to focus. There was this little songbird, and he was fluttering around in the tree, and he moved up so close, he got inside the focus envelope of my 500 PF, and it wouldn't pull back enough to focus on him. I had to wait till he hopped over to a tree behind it so I could actually focus on him. And we found out the 2 to 500 will focus about a meter closer than the 500 PF. It's significant. It's seriously, it's almost a yard or 3 feet or a meter. It's a lot closer. So if you need close focus, the 2 to 500 is your tool. Because that thing, I was surprised how much closer it would focus. Oh, whew. Honestly, if you're gonna, Adrian, if you're gonna use a notebook computer to do editing, your money is best spent on a PC-based one. You get more power for the dollar. The Apple products, you get a little prestige with Apple products, and you also get reliability. They seem to be real reliable, as long as you don't do something like pour Coca-Cola on it or something. But as far as getting like raw horsepower for processing, typically a PC-based notebook computer is more bang for the buck. And for that kind of money, you should be able to get a pretty nice one. I would try to buy one from a computer store that has, like wiped the hard drive clean, made sure it's got a fresh install of Windows 10, not 8. Make sure it's got Windows 10 on it. And Windows 10 will run pretty much everything that's out there. And you'll have good luck with it. Yeah, Bass Angler's running a 6-year-old Dell, and he's having good luck. And now he's not editing video, I don't think. For my video editing, I have to reduce the resolution of the preview panel to 1/4 resolution for mine to flow smoothly. And mine's 6 years old now, I think. I think it was bought in 2015. So, if you're getting a little older, yeah. Hey Josh, how you doing? Thank you for stopping in. Then definitely just keep that in mind, that the older the machine is, the slower it's going to process those video files, especially if you're shooting 4K. I'm shooting 1080 and it still will burden the machine. The RAM can't handle it, and I don't have a good video card with a GPU on it. That's all that stuff starts coming into play for video editing. For photos, yeah, an older notebook will drive photos just fine though. like, you know, if you're starting to shoot weddings, and I think you said you were starting to shoot engagements at weddings, you can edit just fine on a 3 or 4 year old notebook, and it'll work great. Let's see, stuff's going on. I gotta look. Cuban Rum says, try the new M1 chip Mac laptop. They are brutal and cheap for Apple. Really? Interesting. Gary Arbuckle says he uses an iPad Pro with Lightroom. Photoshop on an iPad is almost the same as on a desktop. Interesting. I have yet to do anything on an iPad. The wife has owned 2 or 3 of them, and I just don't like using them. Just never have liked them. I've tried to do stuff with them a couple of times, and it's just, but we've never had the big ones, the really big, nice ones. Grant says, buy an older 15-inch MacBook Pro on second-hand market. You'll be able to find it in your budget. I don't know if you can, you'll need to find one in Mexico. You might can find one in Mexico City pretty easy. You know, the bigger the city, the more plentiful stuff like that'll be. You might be able to hit eBay up and find something. I mean, we've bought a bunch of MacBook Pros. Chattanooga is a college town, so the college students, once they finish classes, a lot of times will sell their computer and they'll put it on Craigslist. And I have bought a bunch of them for the machine shop's office. They're all Macs, and we buy them second-handed from them college students. And we'll typically just take them to a local computer store and have them wipe them clean and put a fresh install of whatever the current OS is for that particular model, and use them in the office, and they work great. And you can get them, like he said, you can get them for a third of what they sell for new pretty easily. That's pretty common. Oh, and Bass Angler edits with the Nikon software too. That's right. Let's see. Gary says no problem with the screen calibration on the iPad either. Nice. Grant says it's great. So he's got secondhand markets, what he's talking about. No, that's Gary, my bad. Adrian says, I just use Premiere. That's an Adobe product for my clips, or 1080. Okay. The PC that's in the house has an, well, I'm trying to get it to where it don't fade out. Has an Intel Inside Pentium, so it's super slow. Yeah, Pentium's not a very fast processor. It's way old, and portability is so important, as Apple is mad expensive. Truth. I'm looking for something else. Yes, definitely. Don't get Toshiba. I went through a bunch of Toshiba notebook computers. They're not reliable. They break down on you really quickly. I'm not a big Toshiba guy. These newer ones that's come out, there's Acer stuff, and there's another brand that's a real popular new brand. I don't remember what it's called now. It works really well. You have to use the pencil. Oh, you edit with the pencil, okay. I don't know what Harold Cat's talking about. Josh Waldrop. Sorry, dude, I don't understand. I just got, he says, death to the Bureau of Land Management. I'm not sure what's going on there. I just got a gamer laptop with an NVIDIA GTX graphics card a few months ago. When I ever did a photo editing, I always used GIMP, but I'm trying Photoshop because I received a 4-month subscription. Oh, you're about to get spoiled. Adobe makes their products so user-friendly. They're just so easy to use that, yeah, you kind of fall in love with the UI is great with Adobe products. You know, that whole slider system on Lightroom, it'll spoil you pretty quick. I mean, you can get beautiful edits with Lightroom fast. Which now, here lately, I've been using, Aaron turned me on to a program called Exposure, and I like it. I like it a lot. It allows you to build layers of adjustments, and you can, and masking on those layers is really, really easy to do. So you can mask off sections. Maybe you want to only edit just this color, or the highlighted areas, you want to do something just to those parts or just to the shadows. You've got color wheels and you've got like exposure sliders for the mask layout, and then you can pick an eraser or a brush and color in extra areas if you want to. The whole masking thing is magical. You can do beautiful edits with it really easily. I really like it. It's you have to buy it, but it's not subscription based, so that's one of the reasons I like it too. Let's see what. Joy showed up. How you doing, Joy? Toshiba is out of the laptop business now, Cuban Rum says. I wonder why. Her daggone computers fall apart. They were not reliable. I went through several of them trying to do 3D modeling software. Add to the list that the PC I currently use has only 2 gig of RAM. Looking at the Hunwai. See, I don't know much about the Huawei or Huawei. That's a Chinese company, but I do know that they've come out with a new smartphone that looks amazing. It's probably going to be a piece of good kit because the Acer displays and computers have also, from all of those I've ever really seen, they're pretty great machines for what you pay for them. That Samsung's got a good reputation. Either one of them will probably serve you just fine. Bassinger says go to Dell's website and build you out one. I bet you can come in under budget. Wow. Woody says he uses Shotcut to edit video. It's free and does most anything you need. Interesting. I tried a free suite of something. What was it? I don't remember now. But you had to log into the website to use the software. You downloaded the software, but when you launched it, it logged you in through the website to get to the software. And that was just a pain. I gave up on it just because of it, but it's free. And it supposedly was really good software. I just didn't like that whole logging in to get to the software thing every time. It was just a pain to use because of that. That's why I went to DaVinci Resolve before it was over with. I don't remember what that one was called now. But, oh, what's the little guy on YouTube? Darius, D for Darius, he recommended it. And I downloaded it to give it a shot. But I couldn't get it to do anything because that whole logging in deal was a pain. I just didn't like having to do that every time. It was just a headache. But it was free. So, I mean, it's free. Morgan Nelson says that he sees exposure being used with Fuji. Yeah, I haven't edited any of my Fuji X-T3 photos in it yet, but it reads the Leica files just fine, and it reads the Nikon files. It reads the RAW files great. So it'll edit RAW or JPEG, so you don't have to have like a RAW converter with, with some of them you have to do a RAW converter first, and this one doesn't. It works. It'll read them just fine. And it's simple. It's just got some drop-down trees. It's a lot like Lightroom. It pretty well is kind of copying Lightroom, honestly. Native American Elder, how you doing today? I don't even know what FCP7 is. That's interesting. Man, that's some of the software people use. It's interesting. OpenShot and Kden Live for video editing. OpenShot was okay, but Kden Live did a better job of rendering videos. Interesting. Final Cut Pro. Oh, FCP, that's it. Okay. See, I quit buying Apple software when I had Aperture. That's how long I've been using Apple machinery. I had the latest Aperture installed, and when they came out with that next OS, and Aperture disappeared, and they had the photos program instead, and it wasn't near as good as Aperture. I mean, Aperture was a really strong piece of software, and it just vanished, and I loved it. That's what I was using at that time, and like I said, I upgraded my computer, and Aperture was gone, and I just didn't have software anymore. That's when I went to Lightroom, and I used Lightroom for 3 or 4 years, and the whole subscription-based thing, I just started adding the cost up. It was expensive, you know, it just costly, because you know, they do give you the updates, but man, I mean, I don't remember how much it was, but I mean, you can get $10, you can get Lightroom and Photoshop, but I was getting the suite because we was using some of the other stuff, and yeah, it was like $50 a month. I was like, man, that's a lot of money. Yeah, Hassan says that, you know, Apple is expensive, but their software just works. And then he put an anecdote in. I think he said sometimes. I have very little like reliability issues with my Apple equipment. It just, like you said, it just works. It's not fancy a lot of times. It's kind of plain, but it does the stuff that it does do really well, and it breaks down hardly never. If you get decent software to start with, you know, if you don't download some of these really sketchy apps, you know, I always get, you know, I read the reviews, but typically the app will have good functionality. Now I do have things that'll crash from time to time. It does happen. With the newer the phones have gotten, the more that I have had things that'll crash, but not real bad. Hassan says he loves his iPhone, but it can be a pain sometimes. I don't have a lot of trouble out of my phone. Like right now, I'm streaming with it, and it works fine. Martin says he thinks with Apple, reliability is more important than speed. And I think reliability is also more important. I agree with that. But I also think with Apple, reliability also trumps innovation. They'll let somebody else bring a new feature to market and test it before they throw it into their machine. Because whenever you see Apple upgrades, it's typically already been in a Samsung Galaxy for a year or two. You normally just are getting Samsung's old upgrades in the new stuff with Apple. Now, occasionally they'll come out with some kind of new little something or another along the way, but for the most part, they want to make sure whatever they're doing works. They like that reputation of, you know, it's kind of bizarre the demographic they pander to. Because, you know, I'm 51 and I like my iPhone. And it's because it works. When I get it out of my pocket and I use it to do whatever I'm wanting to do, it just works. And, you know, with Android-based stuff, I've had some Android stuff in the past that I didn't have a phone plan on, but I was trying to use it like a little tiny iPad, basically. I've had a couple of devices. I had a Note, one of the Notes for a while, and I had a Galaxy I played with a little bit, and they were glitchy. They just weren't super reliable. And the iPhone stuff typically isn't very glitchy. Like I said, with the newer the OSs have gotten and with the newer the phones have gotten, you're starting to see more and more glitches. They don't have a perfect bill of health like they did. When my iPhone 4 came out, if you download an app, it worked. It just worked. But now, yeah, you get some that just don't work right, you know. Let's see. Oh, there's a bunch been happening while I've been rambling. But Martin's right. They like reliability is their #1 concern. Are you the only person out tonight? I have not seen a single person in your video. Yeah, I mean, there's stuff here, and it's there was a guy right out of shot down here at the back of this truck. He watched me run the stream for probably 30, 40 minutes. And then there was a couple of couples came out of that unit over there and walked underneath, and I spoke to them. And then one person came out and went in one of those doors earlier, and that's all. It's starting to rain. It's actually raining right now. You just can't see it, but it's like misting rain. So no one's out and about. The road has actually calmed down. During the day, that US 1, which is right over there, you've probably seen some lights go by back here. That US 1 is super busy during the day. It's like an amazing amount of traffic on that one road, and that's the only road to Key West. You know, if you're gonna drive, you go down US 1. That's it. Yeah, here we go. Here comes a car. I hear it. See them right there? That's the main highway. Autopista. Let's see. Yeah. Lightroom now is easier to create your own presets. I never used presets. I tried a couple of times, and my photography is so varied, I never had a consistent workflow to where presets would work for me. So I never used them. Sometimes I would set up one or two that would be simple, like I would always add a little bit of clarity and a little bit of contrast or whatever. I had a few things I always did to all the photos, and I made some like real basic ones to just like basically pull 4 sliders at once by clicking that button. Then I would finish it out manually. But I'm one of those that I want to do each one individually. I never have been that way. You can breeze through a wedding edit in no time. Wow, interesting. I've never done a photo shoot that involved where it was that many photos. Now, I've done some senior portrait shoots for friends of the family, and you know, there was never, you know, it'd be maybe 150 photos. I never rapid fired it and done 1,000 photos because it was free. So, you know, I was doing it as a friend of the family, kind of as a gift to the teenager graduating. Can your XT3 compete in low light against your Z6 depending on the lens? Morgan Nelson asks. No. The Z6 is a monster in low light. Like right after I got it, I did a street photography shoot, and I think I was shooting at ISO 10,000, and it looks fine. If I go to 6400 on the XT3, it starts looking pretty grainy. I mean, you can see this grain in this video stream right over here. The XT3 photos will start to get like that at 6400. And on this, they looked fine at 10,000. It was kind of surprising. Woody lives 2 miles off of US 1 in Virginia. Man, that's weird. Z6. Ollie says the Z6 at 3200 is like ISO 100 on a Fuji. Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, I took this photo, well, I had the ISO low. That don't work. But, yeah. Base M1 is good for video, eh? That's the one I'm looking at. Ah! Yeah, Cuban Rum said that. Cuban Rum, Hassan is asking if you think that the M1 Mac would be good for video editing. Boss BN. I'm learning that Voy and Voss stuff. What was your favorite part of Chattanooga that you have photographed? Josh Waldrop asked. That's a good question. Typically, it's, honestly, I thought it was going to be like street photography or the Walnut Street Bridge, but it turns out I tend to like night photography and light trails, and I like, basically, it's like altered reality. When you do light trails and slow shutters at night, things don't look the same on the camera as they do to the naked eye. So like, I like some photos, like I've got a couple of photos on the Market Street Bridge I really like. They have light trails passing behind the steel works. I like those photos a lot. And then I've got a photo underneath the Walnut Street Bridge that I shot at a real high aperture, so that I got a lot of sun stars all over the bridge. It shows the city skyline. That photo I really like. I got a couple of street photos I like really well, but they're not like quintessential Chattanooga, you know. I got a cool photo of the Tivoli Theater sign. If you're a street photographer in Chattanooga, you've got a cool photo of the Tivoli sign. It's kind of a rule. But my light trail photos I did that night from the parking garage of the EPB building, those are pretty cool photos. I had to do a stack to get that picture, but I like that photo really well. Phil went up there and did a similar photo from up there, and I don't know, I'm kind of like his too. I think he did a pano. But yeah. Gary says he almost have made it to Chattanooga Saudi Daisy. Wanted to look you up, but my brother-in-law in Saudi got the Rona, so the trip got goose. Figures. Yeah, we was going to visit some friends down in, well, up in northern Florida. I'm down and below them now, but and they're currently sick with it, so they're about over it. But yeah, we're not going to be able to visit with them because they're currently self-quarantining, and we don't want to risk catching it and taking it back to North Georgia either. So, you know, discretion is the better part of valor. So we just, unfortunately, had to cancel those plans. It's just life, I guess. Life in 2021, huh? Let's see. No one out because us Floridians don't like cold weather. Priority is different if you need to work for a living with gear. That's what Martin said. There's some truth in that. I got to be able to do my work. And I use this phone to do my office work on the road. We do a lot of spreadsheets through Google Docs, and I can log in from here and answer all the questions that people will put on the spreadsheet for me and stuff, and it just works. I've been hearing a lot of people up here have been getting the Rona. North Hamilton, whoops, what am I doing? North Hamilton County has been having it rough. Really? I haven't heard any of that. That's interesting. Then again, I don't get up into North Hamilton. That's pretty rare for me to go that far north now. I used to go to Montlake Golf and Country Club. It's the rock climbing area next to the golf course. We used to go up there a good bit when the kids didn't have cars, but now that they have cars, they can go and we don't. So I haven't been up there in a long time. Actually, it's probably been the better part of a year since I've been up to Little Rock City. I used to go up there and photograph them. And there's videos in my library from back in the first couple of years where I actually did videos at those rock climbing events. Gary says my brother-in-law traveled the world last year and caught it in Saudi Daisy. Figures. That's the way it goes. That's the way it happens. Woody says, Gomer Palazone, I am having a hard time following both of you. Well, golly. Oh. Let's see, let me make sure I ain't missed one. You guys are blowing up the chat tonight. Eric Smith says he's running Luminar 4 and Lightroom Premiere on an MSI gaming. That's the brand computer I'm using, is an MSI, and it works great. That's what I've been editing my videos with, is an MSI gaming machine from 2015. And it does have a graphics card, and literally I just updated it. I just updated the software because, what's the software I'm using? The one by Blackmagic that's free, DaVinci. Wouldn't open the other day. I went and sat down to do an edit, and I had started a project the night before and had saved it. So I sat down, woke the computer up, and it wouldn't open Resolve. And it kept saying there was an issue with the drivers with the video card. So I checked the updates from Microsoft, and there was an update for the video driver. So I updated the driver, and then it worked. So there was something to do, probably some kind of security thing. You know, Windows has all these security holes they're constantly plugging. If I had to guess, there was some kind of security patch for the video card, and they disabled something until I installed it. But I put it in there and it worked. So let me see where I'm at here. I'm gonna. Josh Walter says he's going to have to be extra careful up there. Yeah. Oh. Car. Look, there is somebody here, Woody. Somebody just showed up. Let's see. They're back from supper. Gary's got to go. Stay safe. Yes, sir. Until next time, get your camera out and take a picture with it, all right? Thank you for dropping in. Oh, wow, this has done ran on for over an hour. I was going to log in for like 15 minutes, guys. These live streams turn into such a fun time, though. Oh, no. Lost the video? Really? Are y'all there? Somebody ping me and tell me, is the stream still running? It shows it's working on my end. Hello? Hello? Okay, good. Good. Hello? Woo, I can't say that. X-Gen Ray. Oh, you're Gen X or like me. Okay. Time flies when you're having fun. Thank you, guys. I appreciate the data. Let's see. Yeah. Live streaming. How y'all doing?
So, man, you still taking pictures, huh?
Not now. I'm just talking to the guys on the internet about it. I went out and got the picture of the sign out front. I'm collecting photos of the neon signs from like the 50s and 60s styling like theirs is. And I went up to Cherokee, North Carolina and got a bunch of those photos a couple of weeks ago.
Isn't that a cool place to go, Cherokee?
It's beautiful up there.
Yeah, I rode my bike up to Dragon Tail.
Oh yeah.
On top of the Cherokee.
If you ride your motorcycle any at all and you haven't rode the Dragon yet, you're doing it wrong.
That's where I found Cherokee.
Okay. Because that's a beautiful ride.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I love Cherokee.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I thought you were doing your live stream.
I am.
You're out here yelling.
Well, I'm talking to the neighbor.
All the people are trying to go to sleep.
Oh,
Just
look.
out of your live streamers.
Yeah, there's, I hear, see
Look, you
it.
can see the top of my head.
See where my finger is at? It says 15.
Yeah.
That's how many people are watching right now.
Look how I can see the top of my head only.
I'm having to pull it way over, guys. Josh said hi there.
I have to go take a shower
Oh, okay.
and see if I can cancel the flight.
All right. Everybody said hello. There's a lot of them now.
Hello.
Eric Smith says, supposed to make it over to Israel for 14 days in May. Dude, Israel is an amazing place. So much archaeological history. Dude, it's incredible. There's just so much. When you get to Jerusalem, go see the Dead Sea Scrolls. They're in a museum in Jerusalem. They have fragments of a bunch of them on display of actual fragments, but they have I think it's a copy of one that is like 13 meters long, wraps a huge drum in the center of the room, and I think it's like the whole book of Isaiah handwritten, and it's, you know, like 200 BC or something. I don't remember the exact dates. A cursory Google search will get you a lot more information than I can impart here, but it's awe-inspiring to see that. And then we actually went to the place where they found them and got to see the cave they found them in. They actually pointed out from an observation deck, you can actually see where the actual spot was. But it's incredible. It's an incredible land. Everything about it's just amazing. It's okay, as long as the wife does not come out. We're called. Of course, she came out. Good night, Cuban Rum. You may have done left. Is there? Let's get on my end. My video has been cutting in and out. That's hard. That's sad. I got pretty good service here. I don't know why. There's no telling. It could be any number of reasons. Josh Walter said, I was hoping to go over to Fort Loudon last year, but stuff happened with the Rona starting to spread all over. I haven't been to the actual fort. I've driven over the dam, Fort Loudon Dam. Okay, you're still here? Cool. But yeah. Dude, I'd grab it and show you, but the D810 is a dinosaur, and it's still taking amazing photos. I want to upgrade it, but I really just can't bring myself to do it because it works so well. I was shooting with it today. AK Kelly 65, thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Man, this is pretty incredible tonight, guys. I appreciate you so much. Let me see here. Yeah, I wish you could see it. This is overexposing on the stream photo for some reason. If I back it way off, does it get better? What if I turn the display brightness down? How do you do that? I can show y'all. Display brightness, where would that be? Yeah, it should be in here. Who knows where the display brightness is on a Z6? Limit monitor mode, control panel brightness, auto. Hey, look at that. Manual. Turn it down to 1. Okay, let's see. Hey, did that fix it? It helped a little. That's all the way down. Don't worry about the Rona. My guess, just January 20th, it will disappear. D750 shooter, nice. I tried to dim the display, but yeah, you can't really tell. It's still overexposing. That's a neon sign right out here at the road. I'll put a picture up on the web page about it. Yeah, it looks really good. I don't know. Maybe that's the EVF that I just dimmed down. Let's see. No. But that looks really good. Oh, I love an EVF. Huh? Oh. I thought they were talking to me. How are y'all this evening?
Oh, we're doing fantastic.
What are you doing?
I'm live streaming. We're on the internet live.
Oh, geez.
Well, hello. Welcome to the Florida Keys.
They're all over the place.
We're drunk as shit and no one gives a shit.
Hey, good night.
Y'all have a good
Thank you,
evening.
buddy. We'll talk to you.
Nice have. They had a good time. Hassan says he wants a rangefinder style Nikon full frame. Whew. I don't know that that's a thing. I can hook you up on Leica. Fuji. No, it's not full frame. I don't know. Yeah, you can get an M10. That's full frame rangefinder style. If you're sitting down, I'll tell you how much it costs. Oh, this has been pretty epic. D750 is an amazing camera, by the way. Interesting. Thanks, Josh. I'll see if I can't figure out a chance to get up there. Go see them. Let's see. I would like it because my nose hits the display on this. It's not as bad on the Z cameras because they push the the viewfinder is back a lot more than like my D810. It's almost flush with the back of the camera, which on it, it's not touchscreen, so it's not as much of an issue, but it does mash your nose into the camera to get a good eye contact with the viewfinder. I find myself rolling my head over and looking like, you know, and looking through the top of my eye at it to keep my nose off of it. Yeah, I mean, for me, the EVF was the sell. And the better these cameras get, the better the EVFs get. And like just then, I was literally looking at the photo through the viewfinder. And, you know, it'll spoil you. It really will. Now, there is something to be said for a traditional, what do they call that? What's the traditional viewfinder? I don't even remember now what it's called, but, you know, optical. A traditional optical viewfinder has its perks. You can frame up a composition and see what the lens is physically seeing. You know, you get to see it exactly. And if you want to stop the lens down, there's a button right on the front of the camera. You press that button, it'll stop down the lens and let you see exactly what the depth of field is and everything. And if you're used to that, it works great. You know, I like being able to see my photos if I want to review them or check like for exposure. At night, I can see them real good. And in the bright sun, I can check for overexposing or underexposing if I didn't get my metering just right. Because I'm kind of bad at metering. I just am. I constantly chase the metering. That's why I shoot in manual a lot, because then I'll basically bracket by just taking an underexpose and exposing an overexpose and figuring out what I like, and then taking a fourth photo adjusted based off of my bracketed test series. It's almost like a test strip of photo paper when you're figuring out the exposure for it and getting the chemical formula worked out. But it works for me. It's just kind of slow. But like, I was running into that problem a little bit yesterday when we were shooting those birds. Yeah, I have a TL, and a TL is a great little camera. I bought one, and you can buy them. Like, I bought mine, I think I bought the TL from KEH, and it was the body and one battery. That's all I got. I didn't get a box or a book or a charger or anything. Oh, wait, I take that back. It came with a wall charger, I believe. Yeah, it did. It come with a wall charger as well. I don't remember if it's like a brand or if it's off brand, but it's, but it was only like $650. And it works. It works great. I love that little camera for general photography. You okay? Oh, you got a phone call? Oh, she's talking to the airline, I think. But the TL, I like it. I like the whole, the interface is like a smartphone. That's what's cool about it. And it allows you to, if you're used to working like an iPad or a smartphone, that's the way the camera is engineered. So you don't ever put it to your face. You just look at the back of it like you're looking at your phone, and you make your compositions. All your function buttons are built into the back of the camera as touch buttons. There's a few, I think, no. It's just got the shutter button, and then it's got like 2 thumb wheels, and that's all I think's on the outside of the camera. I don't even think it has function buttons on the side. They're digital, and you can swipe lock them so you don't accidentally engage them. But yeah, I like that little camera. I like it a lot. I leave the 23 f2 on it and use it for like snapshots. Like, I took photos of the family Christmas gatherings with it. And I've done some street photos with it. I think I just launched a video the other day where I did black and white street photography with it. It's a great little camera. I ended up getting a third-party battery for it, a second battery, and it works fine. I don't remember what brand it is. Ooh. But yeah, it worked fine. So, they say the guts are made by Panasonic, and that Leica just kind of puts their touch to it. So you may just be buying a Panasonic camera of some sort, but it works. I have had 0 problems with it, like, at all. It's 16 megapixel, So it's plenty of megapixels. You can print pretty much as big as you want to with 16 megapixels. You can print pretty big, and it's razor sharp. The colors look great. I got no complaints, and it's priced right. You on hold? Let's see. Uh-oh, there they are. Eric says he's trying to get out of a new D5600 18 to 140 into a Z6, but the holiday squeezed the budget. I'm just gonna say it. The D5600 is a great camera. The Z6, yeah, it's got things that it can do that 5600 can't. I'll give you that one. But the 5600 is a capable camera. You got a good machine. You know, it's like me and my D810. I still haven't upgraded it because it just still takes great photos. And I keep thinking I'm gonna get either a D850 or something like that. I just can't bring myself to do it. The D810 just works. And that, yeah, and like Ollie said, the 18 to 140 is an amazing lens. You've got a great kit.
Yes, how do we get
Hassan says make the Z6 into a rangefinder and call it an R6 or a ZR6. Dude, I'd be down for that. Eric says he's been shooting a lot with the X100T. Those X100s in general, all of them are cool cameras. You know, they got a fixed lens, but once you get used to the focal length, it's like Cuban Rum's got a Q, and it's got a 28 mil on it. So once you kind of learn that lens, you can rock with it. It does, it does a very specific genre really well, and it does a bunch of other genres pretty well. There's just a couple it doesn't do, at all. I wouldn't really shoot sports with it. I mean, because it's kind of wide. That's the only reason. I mean, Fuji's got the capability. Fuji cameras take phenomenal photos. So, there's nothing there to scoff at. It's just that it's not designed for certain things, like birding. It's not really engineered for that. I mean, if you can get close enough to the bird, it's going to take an amazing photo of it. But, that's why bird photographers shoot 600 millimeters, because they really can't get close. So, but general photography, great camera. Mostly street and that leaf shutter, yeah. Leaf shutter's quiet. See, the Q has a leaf, and dude, it's almost absolutely silent. My CL doesn't have a leaf shutter. If it does, it has some kind of modified version of a leaf shutter, because it makes this little squeak noise before it fires, and then it makes the click. And I've been around some other CLs, and they all do it. So it's the way the shutter's made. It's not like a defect or something. It's the design. But it's unique. Sounds just like a CL. I mean, when you hear it fire and you get used to that sound a little bit, all CLs sound the same, and they don't sound like any other camera. They're unique. So it's kind of cool that you have that, you kind of learn it. But a leaf shutter it's ridiculously quiet. Just snick, that's it. There's Aaron. Aaron just showed up. Key Islamorada. I said it right finally, guys. I've been trying to say that all this time. We're in Key Islamorada, whatever. Teresa keeps wanting me to call it Isla, but it's Isla for island. Purple Island. Apparently there was a bunch of flowers here when they found it or something is what we're guessing. Florida is La Florida, which is the land of the flower, or flowering land. And then there's a bunch of these that are Spanish named because, the Spanish basically owned Florida until, I think, we got Florida in some kind of deal along the way after a war was lost or something, but you know, they were here first for a long time. Islamorada, that's it.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
I service the entire state, currently in Tampa. Wow.
That's all for me.
Man, Tampa's a long way from here. Florida is a very long state, we have learned. Like twice as long as Georgia. Doesn't look like it on a map, but it is. It's a long state.
We're gonna have ice cream time soon.
Is it?
As if we don't have any reason to get up early or anything, but we do go to bed. It's just ice cream. The first time we did.
Oh, okay. Live in Spring Hill. Martin Castine says, how far along Florida? I don't remember how many miles Florida is long, or kilometers, but I know hours. And it takes 3.5 hours, no, excuse me. Georgia's 350 miles long, and you can cross Georgia in about 6 hours, 5.5, 6 hours. You can be in Florida, and then it'll take you another 8 to 10 to cross Florida. It's long. There's a lot of state down here. Carl Benz says, what are your thoughts on field monitors? I have never used one other than my iPhone. I use it to Wi-Fi connect to my GoPro for composition usage from time to time, but I have never actually had a field monitor. Now, when you say field monitor, I'm thinking you're talking about the little display that mounts on top of the camera so you can see the composition with the video camera, and I've never used one. I've never even seen one, just to tell you the truth. All the guys that I know that vlog, like Phil Thatch and Martin, well, I don't know, I've never been to Martin's studio. I'm not sure how his studio is honestly set up, but like Cuban Rum, I don't think he does. Most of us just film, and we figure out a camera that works for us, and then you kind of figure out with time how to hold it so that your head has a little bit of headspace like I got right now, which what I'm doing is I'm kind of cheating. I've got the front camera filming this. That's why there's so much ISO noise over here. But I can actually see my composition. I just know to look over here. This is where the camera's at. So I look here to look at you guys and don't look at me. I just use it as a reference so I can see comments coming on the screen over here, and I can kind of see where my head is in frame. And then I catch myself looking over at myself, and that's when you'll see my eyes dart off to the side. Your eyes are drawn to it, this movement. But I've not ever used one other than, like I said, my smartphone, and it works good. But I've thought about like the Ninjas. What brand is it that makes the Ninja ones? Real nice ones. It even has the recorder built into it. I've thought about one of them a time or two, but then it just turns into a large rig, for lack of a better term. It just starts getting big, and my stuff typically is, I try to keep it more compact and more mobile, and it sometimes still gets in the way. I'm looking for places to stick cameras and things so I don't have to carry them in my hands, because I end up carrying a little vlogging camera in one hand and a camera in the other, and I'm trying to do photos and hold it all, and it's kind of a struggle at times, but I've never used one. Well, thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. I enjoy making the videos. It's a lot of fun. I had to back off a little bit on the quantity, mainly because work was starting to overwhelm me, and I was having to work more and more to try and help the guys keep the production under control, and I didn't have physical time to make the videos. So that's why for the next couple of months I've backed off to one a week. I can do a live stream, and when it's done, and I don't have to do any editing. It's just upload it and walk away. But I like the videos to be just a little more polished, you know, just a little. They're normally not super well made. But, you know, I like them to like cut out some of the dead spaces and the pregnant pauses and things. Let's see, I've got some stuff coming by. Let's see what we got here. Aaron says, about 8.5 hours from Georgia to Miami. Ooh, cancel. I keep doing that crap. Scott Patterson says, I wish I was in Cuba getting some heat. I wish I was in Cuba getting some awesome street photos. Aaron says, all the Florida names are basically Spanish, Seminole, or Greek. Interesting. Let's see. All of the 10s go from water to water horizontally. '50, '60, '70, etc. I can say I have learned. Oh, I get it. All of the interstate or highways that cross the state. Interesting. I can say I learned a great deal. Family time is important as well. Yeah, I'm about to have to shut the stream down and go in and visit with the girls. Once the Rona stuff passes, we should all do a photo meet and greet. That is literally in the planning. George Nagata actually reached out to me about doing that very thing last summer. And me and him had that conversation. Hi, Phil's back. But me and George had that conversation, and we want to do that. Maybe even two, because not everybody can travel all the way across the country. So, you know, if we do one like somewhere inside the eastern seaboard, maybe in Kentucky or, you know, Indiana-ish, somewhere in that region, maybe down in the Tennessee mountains, and then one maybe in Utah later on. And that way, you got the West Coast people can meet there, and the East Coast people can meet here or wherever. But you give someone a location that's within maybe a day's drive, so that they don't have to book airfare and all that sort of stuff. They can just hop in the car and drive down, stay in a motel, or something like that. You know, make it to where it's a little more feasible or economical than just say everybody meet in New York. You know. Then you basically exclude the people that live in LA because they can't afford to fly to New York for a one-day walk around. So we I want it to be where it's as inclusive as possible, you know. So we've been kicking that idea around a little bit. Martin says, do it in London. Y'all come here. London is on the roster. I just got to figure out when I can go. Don't think I ain't coming, Martin. There's interstates. Even numbers go east-west, odd numbers go north-south. Yeah, he's right. Like I-10, I-20, I-40, and I-80 are the big interstates that are transcontinental from east to west coast. And then, like, yeah, if it's an odd number interstate is a north-south one. Even if it's not a 10s, like I-75 is north-south, I-24 goes east and west, I-59 is north-south. Yeah, that was part of the interstate system. You're right, yeah. 75, 95, 65, yeah, exactly. Cough, cough, looking at property in or near the mountains. Ooh. Can we say Airbnb, here we come? Cough, cough. I think you need to change the scenery, Aaron. Maybe Carson City. I do. Bring RVs. I can bring a big camper. What we need to do is come up over to the track hoe and dig in a huge 5,000 gallon septic tank and about 400 linear feet of field line, and then put in like a 4 or 5 campground camper site system. What we got here? Nevada. Honestly, Nevada's beautiful. There's some, was it the Red Rock mountains or whatever in Nevada. It's supposed to be real gorgeous. I want to go to like Monument Valley, Utah. I don't know. I've just wanted to do that. And you said Carson City. Oh. I was thinking about the one that's next door to Cherokee. That's what I was talking about. I don't remember what it was called now. Fort Carson, whatever it was. Bryson City. Man, I feel like an idiot. Phil says I was going to invite you to hike to Denny Falls tomorrow morning, but I guess you can't make it. No. Not going to be there in time for that one. I'll still be in Florida tomorrow night. It's raining pretty good. Fortunately, I have a roof right here, but literally water's dripping off of it. Right along this edge, water's dripping. Y'all just can't see it. Yeah, you can. You can see it. You can see it right here dripping. Let's see. Yeah, you can see the drops falling. That's irony. Your wife's Teresa too. Good night. Thank you for coming. It's gonna be cold. No, it's not cold, Phil. It's fine. If you go south far enough, it ain't cold. It's a little cool because the wind's blowing and it's rainy, but it was really nice today. 1950s. Yeah, I think that's when it was built initially. They've made some interesting changes, like the walls here. Let me just kick this around and give y'all the nickel tour. See these huge sliding glass windows? They're not sliding glass windows anymore. They've actually screwed them shut. That's what that is. They've tied them, they've locked them to where they don't open anymore, and then they've 2x4'd up and insulated and sheetrocked on the other side of them. So these are false windows. They don't do anything now. There we go. The light looks a little better now for some reason. Interesting. Because I'm blocking out. I don't know. But I think it was built in the 50s. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, you threw us under the bus. We did have jackets on the other morning. It was a little bit chilly that morning. You seen 17 degrees in Orlando? Good Lord. That's right. You are old enough to remember the freezes of the 80s and late 70s. What are your thoughts on a field monitor for manual photography? I'm not sure exactly what that is. I'm just honest with you. I'm not sure what a field monitor does for photography. You're sweating. I'm trying to understand your question, and I don't know. I mean, I've just used the monitor on the camera and the viewfinder monitor on the mirrorless ones, but as far as like a remote monitor, like when in studio photos, you know, you have a monitor so that the talent can see the photo. And I'm wondering if that's what you're talking about, because I'm not real sure. Because I do check my focus and stuff with the little display on the camera. Maybe it's something I need to look into. Oh, okay. Like an Atomos Ninja. Yeah, I've never used one. Focus peaking on manual, and it helps especially. Oh, now I get it. You basically get some of the functionality of a mirrorless camera on a DSLR. Interesting. I didn't have any idea. Yeah. Spanish Institute. Interesting. You can use it for. I had no idea you could do that. But yeah, it's built into the monitor. It's not built. It's not. It's just taking a video feed out of the camera, isn't it? Yeah, that never occurred to me. Now I see what you're talking about. I'll do some research. You got me interested. One year in October, we had to buy an expensive Disney hooded sweatshirt at Walt Disney World because it was so cold. We saw news reports that year about tropical fish breeders losing their stock. Wow. That's bizarre. Andy Cine A6 Plus. I'll look it up. Built into the monitor. Yeah. Interesting. We went to Animal Kingdom Sunday. Spent the day at Animal Kingdom, at least the afternoon. We got there mid-morning. And we got to ride that new, I don't guess it's new now, the little Avatar flying ride. That was kind of impressive. I got to admit, you sit in a room on a thing that kind of resembles a motorcycle, and they simulate you riding one of those, I think they call them Banshees, and it's actually, they done it well. It actually works surprisingly well for tricking the senses. You kind of feel like you're flying on that thing. It was incredible. I got to admit, they done their homework with the whole sensory control. That was impressive. Yeah, Flight of Passage. That's what it's called. Yeah, Phil knows. Yeah, that was impressive. I got to admit. You know, you ride the little riverboat thing, and it's kind of cool, but no, it don't hold a candle to that flying one. That was incredible. All I took the whole day as far as camera gear went, long story behind it, but all I took was the Leica TL and a battery. And I didn't take but about 8 photos all day. As you hike the Maharaja Jungle Trek. I did the one right next to where you ride the bus through the African safari thing, and then there's a walk right beside it. We did that walk where you see the hippopotamus swim by. We did that one. Okay. Yeah, we did that one, but we didn't do the other one. Charles Andrews says, great, I'm in. Let me see what, I'm losing him. River ride sucks at Pandora. I mean, it was neat, but you need to do the river ride first, because if you ride the flying one first, then the river one pales in comparison, and you get that response. Good birds. We went to that Gorilla Falls one's got the little aviarium in it too, and there's like little weaver birds and stuff. It was kind of neat. Did Cuban Rome go? No, he didn't come with us to Disney. No, we stopped there on our way to Miami, and then the next morning we got up and drove on down to Miami and spent the afternoon there. We went and ate, linked up with Cuban Rome the next morning. Interesting. Yeah. The sad thing is I have Disney connections. I travel very cheap. What? Did you get coffee and a sub? I'm answering Aaron's question. We went to Versailles Cuban restaurant in Little Havana and ate legit Cuban food, and it was delicious. Cuban Rum knows where to eat. He took us to like an amazing location. We sat outside. Yeah, the whole order was taken in Spanish. It was awesome. Yeah. They could speak English. It was cool. Yeah, I have no idea how hard it is to find those stones in India. Probably as hard as it is to find them in Trenton, Georgia. Basically impossible. Oh, guys. All right. Well, this has been a good time, guys. I've passed the 2-hour mark. So I'm gonna shut down the stream. And they got the sweet plantains and the plantain soup. Yeah. I ate the chicken in was it arroz amarillo, the yellow rice. Take care. You outlasted my movie. Later, y'all. But yeah, I'm gonna go in and spend some time with the girls. Arroz con pollo. Yeah, that was it. And it was good. And but yeah, I've had a good time tonight, guys. I appreciate y'all hanging around with me for a couple of hours. So, The Book Thief, great movie. All right, you got me interested. Well, we'll look into it. But until next time, this is David, the Georgia photographer, saying, get your camera out and go take a picture with it. All right, we'll see you later. Bye-bye. Set in Germany. Interesting. Geico tap. Good point. Taggy photos.